Don't do New York City dirty. Trash your trash.
Ever wondered what a poem from 1909 would sound like as a punk song? I'm Simon Close, the creator of the Public Song Project, and I'm hosting a royalty-free, no-fee, free-for-all radio special featuring music from listeners like you. We'll be celebrating your reinterpretations of art from the public domain, talking to contest winners, and playing our favorite songs from the biggest batch of submissions ever. Tune in Saturday at 7 p.m. on WNYC.
This is Michael Lowinger, co-host of On the Media. Did you know that you can live stream On the Media or explore archived episodes for free 24/7? Download or upgrade today at wnyc.org/app.
When the actor and comedian Rhys Darby noticed that conversations around AI were becoming increasingly normalized in Hollywood, he decided it was time to look at AI through stand-up comedy. Rhys will be here to tell you about his new stand-up show, The Legend Returns. That's coming up on Q from CBC. Tonight at 10 on WNYC.
The Marketplace Morning Report is coming up next, and stay with us for the BBC News Hour at 9 o'clock. Let's check in with London to see what they're working on. Hello, BBC.
Good morning, WNYC. I'm Tim Franks. On today's News Hour, Israel launches a major new offensive in central Gaza and the sale of a huge collection of accordions. That's BBC News Hour, coming up at 9 on WNYC.
Well, if you're in the market for an accordion, stay tuned for sure. We're seeing delays on downtown 4, 5, A and D trains. J trains are behind schedule, going in either direction. 73 degrees right now. Sunny skies all day today, heading up to a high of 83 this afternoon.
It's like mixing oil and oil. Chevron will buy Hess Corporation, both of fossil fuels fame.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Viking, exploring the world in comfort. With a fleet of small ships, Viking offers travel experiences for the thinking person. Discover more at Viking.com.
I'm David Brancaccio in Los Angeles. Chevron merging with Hess comes after a long dispute with ExxonMobil over the Hess partial ownership of oil operations off South America, specifically Guyana. Marketplace's Henry Epp now has more on why oil giants have such interest in oil fields in that stretch of water east of Venezuela.
Oil off the coast of Guyana was first discovered in 2015, and it's the kind of resource oil companies just don't come across that often anymore. David Goldwyn, president of Goldwyn Global Strategies, says it's a large basin.
And once you stick that straw in it, even if it's, sort of a mile down, you can continue to drain it at a pretty steady rate for probably 20 years.
Which is a lot cheaper than getting crude from one of the last big discoveries, fracked shale oil in the Permian Basin in the U.S.
So shale, you have to essentially constantly be drilling and fracking new wells because they have a very large initial production rate, and then it plateaus.
Oil production in the Permian appears to be approaching a plateau, Goldwyn says. Production near Guyana, meanwhile, is still ramping up. But oil companies aren't just interested in the amount of oil there, but also the type. Matt Smith, an analyst with Kepler, says it's a medium to light crude.
It's a barrel which you can pull from it when you refine it, gasoline and diesel, a decent amount of both of those. So it's a very attractive barrel.
Especially, Smith says, in Europe, which has been trying to cut down imports of similar types of crude from Russia ever since that country invaded Ukraine. I'm Henry Epp for Marketplace.
Also, there's that club of 500 companies of great interest to stock investors, the S&P 500 index. Because Hess Oil becomes part of Chevron now, Hess as a stock disappears and can't be in the S&P 499. So the spot will be filled by the mobile payments company formerly known as Square. That firm is now called Block, which becomes part of the S&P 500 starting on Wednesday. Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ futures are all down 0.2%. Do you have a stake in the oversight of companies listed on the stock exchange? If so, know that the boss of what to us may be an obscure regulatory agency is stepping down. Erica Williams is leaving the Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. Marketplace's Nancy Marshall-Genzer joins us with more. Nancy, what exactly does this board do?
Well, this board was created by Congress in 2002 to oversee accounting firms that audit public companies. The board was established in response to accounting scandals at WorldCom and Enron, and it establishes standards for these accounting firms. It checks their audits. It can hit them with fines. And the idea is to protect investors so they can have faith in the financial statements of the companies they're putting their money into.
May I ask, was it Erica Williams' own choice to leave?
Well, the Securities and Exchange Commission oversees this board, David, and Reuters is reporting that SEC Chair Paul Atkins asked Williams to resign. Atkins is in favor of deregulation. Williams was a very active regulator. The board says under her leadership, it finalized 7 projects covering 24 rules and standards, and it says that's more than under any other chair.
What does Williams' departure say about the future of accounting oversight for big companies?
Well, in a quote on the board's website, she says it's critical that board staff, quote, continue to be empowered. She told the Wall Street Journal she's afraid the board won't get the resources it needs to, quote, deliver for investors. And she said there will be a higher risk of fraud if we head into an economic downturn.
Nancy on the PCAOB beat today. And financial markets in Tokyo are closed for a holiday today, Marine Day, to give thanks to the oceans. We'll see where indexes move tomorrow now that Japan's ruling coalition has suffered a big election defeat in parliament. The opposition is talking of a no-confidence vote, even with the prime minister saying he plans to stay.
Marketplace Morning Report is supported by Yubico, makers of the YubiKey. YubiKey helps protect important digital applications and services. YubiKey, still undefeated, the original passkey. More at yubico.com.
President Trump wants to bring more drug manufacturing to the U.S. and has talked of tariffs on imported medicine. Marketplace's Savannah Peters has more on why so much medicine production is in foreign lands.
Where your prescription medications are made depends mostly on whether they're patent protected, says healthcare economist Marta Woshinska with the Brookings Institution.
When it comes to branded drugs, it really is either the U.S. or Europe.
But pricey name brand medications make up only about 10% of those dispensed to Americans. The remaining 90%, Woshinska says, are low-cost generics.
Think about your blood pressure medication, your statins, your antibiotics.
Those drugs and their active ingredients are made mostly in India and China. So the vast majority of medications that Americans rely on to stay healthy and treat illnesses come from overseas. Aaron Kesselheim, a professor at Harvard Medical School, says that reliance on imports is risky.
When there are issues that disrupt the international trade supply chain, that puts a strain on the U.S. drug supply.
But building up U.S. capacity is expensive. Drug companies would need to build factories, hire and train workers, secure approvals from an FDA crippled by DOGE cuts. And Kesselheim can't see companies making those investments without more certainty.
Threats of the tariffs seem to be very transient and fickle.
The math is especially tricky for low-cost generic drug makers, which operate on thin margins, says Aaron Fox, who studies drug shortages at the University of Utah. Rather than draw companies into the U.S. market, she says tariffs could drive some away altogether.
I think what that means for patients is they may not get a product that is the most preferred to treat their illness. They might experience more adverse effects. They might have treatment delays.
Americans could also see higher prices for generic drugs they're used to getting for cheap. Marta Woshinska with the Brookings Institution says that might be necessary to shore up domestic supply chains, and that tariffs can be an effective tool to that end.
If they're used strategically and they're part of a broader set of interventions.
She'll be watching what other investments the administration makes in buffering the U.S. drug supply. I'm Savannah Peters for Marketplace.
And in Los Angeles, I'm David Brancaccio. You're listening to the Marketplace Morning Report from APM, American Public Media.
WNY